New fastest lap
Hey guys,
Phillips, 23.7.
welcome to another episode of Inline 4 Gaming. I am Evan Locke, as you can see in the bottom right corner where my relative screen is, gives my name. And we are going to do an ARCA race here at Iowa. NASCAR's heading back to Iowa this year with the Cup Series, which is fun and interesting and all that kind of stuff. So, in the process of trying to get my A license back, I'm just looking to get safety rating. These races are a great opportunity to do that, simply because there's no cautions, so there's no restarts, which means if you can just stay clear of everybody as they wreck, you don't have to worry, and not wreck yourself, you don't have to worry about it. So we're going to qualify here, just because... There we go. Just because
Push. All right, Evan.
qualifying laps count towards your safety rating. So not worried about being in the front, not worried about being fast, just turning laps and not spinning, hopefully. Now, that's not to say that I won't try, just to be clear. I'm not that person. I keep wanting to hug the bottom, but I don't actually know that that's where the speed is. Kind of seems like it might be in the second group, so we're going to try that this time around.
24.5.
Well, that looked good. Oh, this might be my fastest lap ever. That is my fastest lap ever. My optimal is now at 24.109, so that's interesting. But we accomplished our mission. Got in a couple clean laps, so now we'll reset, and I'll bring you back in time for the race. Alright guys, so we are here at Iowa, as I already told you earlier. Just here to gain the safety rating today. If we happen to run well, that's just a side benefit. But the trick here is going to be survive and not get destroyed, and just see what happens, and hopefully gain some SR. If we gain I rating at the same time, that's okay, since I have dropped about 500 I rating around the same time that my safety rating
catch up to car number 10.
really took a hit. So, see if we can't make something happen here today for that as well. Long story short, just here for the fun of it today. ARCA is not typically a series I run, so this may not be the beginning of a lot of ARCA content if that's what you're here for. Just to let you know, this may be a rare opportunity for me to connect with you. So, don't run a lot of our content. What I do run is a lot of NIS, so the NASCAR iRacing Series, Cup Series, Next Gen Cars, which is a Class C series. I don't need my A license to do that, but I use my A license as a form of practice throughout the week running A-class races. So all of those will be recorded. Now, they won't all be shared, but they will all be recorded. It just depends on our schedule and what content's being uploaded when and where. But that's the game plan, to record all of that. You are here on Inline 4 Gaming, and typically I do run a before the green and after the checkers paint scheme. I am not doing so today. Today I am running a Kodak throwback. I don't have an ARCA car painted, is why I'm not running a paint scheme for the podcast today, but we do have a podcast, Before the Green, After the Checkers. Both myself and another member of Inline 4 Racing, Corey MacArthur, as well as Donnie Johnston, a good friend of ours, and my sister Mara Lee. We all have a podcast. It's a weekly NASCAR podcast, so check that out. We got a guy diving low right away.
Still there.
Trick here is just not to get too
Hold your
excited.
line.
Just let things
Still
go.
there. Inside is
Be
clear.
patient. And don't be the guy that puts people 3 wide like those guys are right now.
Car high.
The 7 car thinks
Clear
he's
up high.
fast, so we'll watch out for him moving forward.
Car low.
We're gonna let him go. He seems
Hold
like a
your
bit of
line.
a menace.
Hold that line. Still there. Hold your line. Hold your line. You're clear low.
These guys are a mess.
Car inside.
The leader's just done a 23.9. P11. That was
Clear inside. Car low. He's still there. He's still there. Still there. Clear low. Inside.
I will say though, this is an important
Inside
lesson.
clear.
Just because you can get around a guy doesn't mean you're faster. And just because you're faster
You got a
doesn't mean
car
you need to
inside.
get around that guy right now. Okay?
Hold your line. Be clear on the inside.
the car in front has just posted a 24.2.
You got a car outside. Hold your line. He's still there. Clear outside. There's a car outside. Clear up high.
That was a little bit reckless on my part. Didn't mean it to be, but
You've just done a
Get down there.
24.3. The guy
in
behind
a
has
line
just
I'm not
done a
used to running, and all of a
24.3.
sudden gave it a little more throttle input than I should have down there. And as you saw, it got a little sideways, which isn't the end of the world, but you definitely don't want to make a habit of that. You don't want to be heating up your tires all the time, especially in ARCA. Like I said, there's no cautions, so we're not going to be pitting because we're not running a long enough race where you need fuel. And so the game here is to conserve your equipment. And that's what a lot of guys don't get about ARCA. That's why a lot of guys think they're slow, because they're not running the fast laps. But you don't need to run a fast lap in ARCA to do well. You need to run consistent laps that don't burn your stuff
That
up.
was a 24.4.
Like, these guys are all pushing quite hard right now, trying to pass each other, and really not gaining anything. See that guy? How sideways he
Car
is?
high. High side is clear.
Sorry about that, 8. Not really convinced that was my fault. I think he came off the wall a little more than
That was some hard racing. It was pretty fun.
most people would expect. Yeah.
That lap time was 24.6. P12. Your lap time was at 24.4.
So I will say, one thing I do want to accomplish is, see that guy, you push him way too hard. Now he gets loose on exit and gets way down in there. That won't be the last time you see that. Probably going to see it repeatedly here for the next little bit, because once you get that tire hot, it doesn't want to cool down quickly or easily, so you've got to lay back off it a little bit and let it cool down to where it's usable again. Otherwise, it's going to want to constantly slip. That's why it's so important not to let it get slipped in the first place. You gotta watch your throttle inputs, gotta watch your brake inputs, gotta watch your steering inputs, everything. Gotta work all together and make sure that you're not getting that tire so hot that it wants to let go and lose grip. That's not to say that you don't rely on that tire and put pressure on that tire. You just gotta watch how much. It's all a balancing act. As you can see, I'm actually running a little bit lower than I was. Only real reason being a lot of these guys are running a little bit higher, but
24.7.
But as their stuff starts to go away, we're going to start moving forward here a little bit. Not really worried about finishing position, just worried about clean laps. Trying to gain back that A license that I talked about earlier. Not necessarily because I really care about running A-class races a whole lot for, as far as, you know, that doesn't really fit with my schedule much. But when I do have the opportunity, I like to use them throughout the week leading up to NIS so that I can practice in amongst traffic, in amongst cars, and see how my setup's handling. That was probably not the most patient move I could have made.
Hold your line.
It was a little bit reckless. Put myself in a little bit of danger that I didn't need to be in, but now that we're about a third of the way through this race, as we come to the checkered flag here, or the start-finish line, you know, now's the time where you're going to start seeing who saved some stuff, who's got some stuff left in the tank, who's going to be
Okay, Evan. Lap times are pretty consistent.
having a decent run here towards the end. And what my spotter just said is exactly what you want to hear. Consistent laps. You don't want to hear, hey, that was a fast lap. Hey, that was another fast lap.
He's still there. Clear high.
That was my bad.
10th position.
Sorry, 10, just washed up a little bit on the bottom. Didn't mean to get into you. So if we finish here, we'll finish in the top 10, which is kind of where I like to finish, even when I'm going for SR, or safety rating. Top 10 is usually where you need to finish to not lose I rating, unless you're, you know, one of the top 2 cars. But being in 6th, the 6th ranked car, which is why I'm car number 6 in this race, being the 6th ranked car, 10th place probably isn't going to cost me any I rating. I probably won't gain any, but I'm not going to lose any.
24.9.
Alright, so we're about a second and a half back from this car in front of us. Let's just see if we can kind of slowly reel him in here without pushing too hard. Just because we're here for safety rating doesn't mean we don't want to gain spots. It just means that's not what we're really pushing for.
That lap was at 24.8.
Now him racing side by side here with the 7, that's going to allow us to gain quicker than we normally would.
Car ahead is Brian.
Just because neither car is getting their best line. So as you can see, we've closed now. We're with, well, just about within a second. So we've gained about a half a second on him in 3-4 laps, whatever it was. And as they continue to fight, we're going to get closer and closer and closer. And they're going to wear their stuff out even more. And based on what's looking like up there, they might just wreck each other. For being really honest. So we've gained about we've closed the gap about halfway between us and that 14 car, but we've actually got another car in between us now, the 7 car, who, if you remember earlier, I said I'm going to let him go. Well, I don't have to let him go anymore. He's used up his stuff. And we are reeling him in fairly rapidly. That's not what I needed to do. Did not need to get that a little loose there. So we're now about a half a second back. And you'll notice I'm really letting my throttle hang here for a while. The reason being is I really don't want to start getting that rear end stepping out all the time. And so, while that means that I'm not going to reel these guys in as
That
quick,
last lap was at 25.1.
it also means that as the race continues on and tires get worn more and more, ours are going to be a little better off. See how he gets in there too deep? It really makes me a little nervous for when we go by him, because I don't feel like you can trust him. And I don't know for sure, but I feel like his mentality is such that
That lap time was 25.0.
that he feels as though the car ahead of him is costing him time, which is why he's now looking around. See, but he gets loose there. He's pushing. He's trying too hard. You can't do that, especially now that your stuff is wore out. You've kind of got what you got, so now you got to manage your gaps and try and try and try to just keep guys behind you while not abusing your stuff. So it's better to lose one position than it is to fight that one position and lose three, right? Not saying you shouldn't race people, but you've got to know time and place. What we know about this race is there's no cautions, so there are no tires. There may be tires in the pits. I didn't check because it doesn't matter. But we know that if there's no caution,
Your last lap time was
we
at
don't want to stop and
25.1.
pit. You lose way too much time. See how much farther he's pushing it into a corner than I am?
Outside. He's still there. Outside is clear.
And then he pulls down to try and break the wind off my nose. And he'll probably get loose here. Yep.
High side. Your high side is clear.
He knows we're better than him, which is why he's trying to block moves here. See how much we gain on him every turn when we're
That
not
lap was at
really low?
25.3.
Well, that just means that we're going to have to
Car
stay
high.
a little less low and
Still
force
there.
him to push harder.
He's still there. Clear outside. Car high. Hold your line. He's still there. Still there. He's still there.
So I believe he got the wall
Hold your
there.
line. Hold your line. He's still there. Clear high. Car outside. Still there. Your outside is
Damn,
clear.
good minute.
Car outside. He's still there. Clear outside.
That's how you clear him, right there. Aggressively and without malice.
P9. The gap to Brian ahead is now 1.2 seconds.
Now, while we fought him, these guys were able to open up a bit of a gap here, so let's work on closing this gap back in. We've got about 8 laps left when we come to the line here. 9 laps, I think, actually, so see if we can't close this in, maybe gain another spot.
Damn it, fun.
I do apologize for the language there. Oh. This is what I was talking about earlier, about just taking advantage of other people making mistakes. They've made mistakes up there. The second place car and the second place car and looks like fourth place car maybe. Now the second place car is back here with us, and his tires are going to be very worn because he slid. Or at least I assume it was him. And we've gained about 0.3 of a second on this guy while we were just rolling around here. And I think there's a chance we can get both of these guys. Maybe all three, but unlikely. And maybe none. Just got to see what the race hands to us. Remember, we said we're not going to force it. We're here for the safety rating. If we gain iRating in the meantime, or if we get a good result, that's all fine and dandy. But that's not our purpose in being here. Although we are gaining a good amount on these guys right now. We're within a half a second with 5 to go.
P9.
It is very, very difficult in moments like this, knowing that you're faster than the guy ahead of you, knowing that you've got a car that you haven't really been putting too much pressure on, knowing that you can push a little harder, to stay patient and to not give up on that safety rating mission, right? That's the target, that's the goal. You know, it's easy to lose focus and make this 14 car your goal, but it's not what you need to be focused on. If it happens, it happens, so be it. But more importantly than getting by him is making sure that we don't get a 4x or a 2x, even a 1x.
2 laps left. That was 25.2.
If we're being very honest, he's the one that has to feel the pressure right now.
One more lap
It
to
ain't
go.
me.
That was 25.3.
Car high. Still there.
Although we might just get him
High.
here.
On the high side.
Come on, Evan. Push, push, push. We can get this.
Clear on the outside.
Damn, it was fun.
Car inside.
Yeah, we got him.
You're clear inside.
P8. That's it.
We did
We're
exactly what we needed to do here, guys. Got an 8th place finish out of it. 0 incident points. And now, just for posterity's sake, we're going to finish one more lap around. Because these laps count for safety rating. And so that was good. That was a good race. That accomplished what we wanted to accomplish. And had a couple good battles in there too, actually. But we were able to stay patient and get a good result. So we'll park this thing in pit road. Then we'll jump out and see how things stacked up statistically.
What's your speed limit in the pits? Pit lane speed limit is 64 kilometers per hour.
See how much I rating we gained, if any. But more importantly, see how much safety rating we gained. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . Good job, crew. You did nothing. Alright. Let's take a peek. Results ready for the race. We did gain 14 iRating, but we gained a whole .2 safety rating, which is exactly what we need. We just need to consistently build that. Fastest lap of the race was a 23.882. Nobody else was even in the 23s. He was a whole... Oh, no, there was a 23.907 there. Oh, he was the guy that was running in second earlier. In either spun or whatever. I was 0.5, half a second a lap slower than the fast lap. But my average lap time, okay, was only 0.2. We'll call it 3. It was only 0.3 off. Okay? And that's what makes the difference. Same like this guy here. He was 0.2 faster than me on his fast lap, but I beat him. This guy here was 0.3 faster. I beat him. You know, if you look at fast laps, there's very few guys here that are slower than me. Actually, the only one that's slower than me on their fast lap was Jacques Delanoy. And I beat all these guys because fast laps don't matter. Consistent, safe laps do. I mean, you can't be slow, right? Like, I'm not fast by any stretch, but I'm not way off the pace, right? 0.2, that's not way off the pace in ARCA. So it's important to keep that in mind. If you're doing iRacing, that's what you want to accomplish each and every race. Clean, consistent finishes.